Don't smile at anyone, Nathaniel Cross murmured beside me. One of them came here to destroy me. That was the moment I realized every man in the ballroom had turned to look at me. Not him. Me. Crystal. Chandeliers burned above the Moretti Grand Hotel, throwing gold across. Black tuxedos and diamond-covered throats. Music still played somewhere behind us, but the room felt strangely quiet. Nathaniel stood at my left shoulder, close enough that I could feel his presence without him touching me. He never touched without warning. Not anymore. 6 hours earlier, I had been wearing a gray cardigan and arguing with a printer. My glamorous life as executive secretary to New York's most feared mafia boss. At 6:14 p.m., I shut down my computer and reached for my coat. A black envelope landed on my desk. I looked up. Nathaniel stood on the other side, immaculate in a charcoal suit, one hand adjusting his left cufflink. That gesture always meant he was thinking. Cancel my 8 o'clock, he said. I opened the envelope. Vincent Moretti's charity. Gala. Everyone knew Moretti. At least, everyone who worked for Nathaniel did. The two men smiled at each other in public and spent the rest of their time calculating how much damage the other could survive. Who are you taking? I asked. You. I laughed. Nathaniel didn't. My smile disappeared. I'm your secretary. Tonight, you're coming with me. That doesn't explain why. His dark eyes stayed on mine. Most people looked away from Nathaniel Cross after 3 seconds. I had lasted 22 months. I need someone beside me who notices what everyone else misses. That was dangerously close to a compliment. I twisted my mother's silver ring around my finger. A reconciliation sheet still sat beside my keyboard, one harmless-looking vendor code circled in pencil. Because I had seen it twice that week. M417. I had meant to ask. Accounting about it tomorrow. You have Marcus. Marcus notices. Threats. Nathaniel paused. You notice patterns? Before I could answer, Marcus Hayes entered carrying a folder. He stopped when he saw me. Nathaniel took the papers from him and turned slightly. Slightly. Wasn't enough. I saw 4 names. Marcus Hayes, Caleb Cross, Grace Miller, and one more hidden beneath Nathaniel's hand. Then he drew a line through mine. I stared. Nathaniel closed the folder. What was that? Nothing you need to worry about. My irritation arrived. Instantly, I decide what I need to worry about. Something almost changed in his expression. Almost. Then his phone vibrated. He read the message once. His face went still. Dangerously still. Problem? I asked. Moretti knows we moved a shipment from Pier 9 to Pier 14. I frowned. That change was made yesterday. Yes. It was. Only on your private calendar. His gaze sharpened. Exactly. 3 hours later, I stepped from his limousine wearing the navy dress Claire had bullied me into buying 2 years ago. Nathaniel looked at me once. Then, again. Is something wrong? No, a beat. That might be the problem. I ignored the warmth climbing my neck. The Moretti ballroom doors opened. Nathaniel entered first. Conversations softened. Heads turned. That was normal. Then I removed my coat. Before I had taken 3 steps, the master of ceremonies lifted a microphone. And joining Mr. Cross. Tonight, Miss Grace Miller. My name rolled across a ballroom where secretaries were almost never announced. A spotlight meant for arriving. Donors caught us for one bright second. A man near the champagne tower stopped speaking. Another looked over. Then another. Within seconds, attention shifted across the room like wind through grass. It was too coordinated to be an accident. Nathaniel noticed before I did. His jaw tightened. Why are they staring? He didn't answer. Instead, his eyes moved through the ballroom, counting faces, studying reactions. Then his hand hovered near my back, never touching. Whatever happens, he said, quietly, stay where I can see you. That sounded like an order. It was. I stepped forward before he could guide me. Then you should learn how to ask. For the first time that night, Nathaniel almost smiled. Then his gaze stopped on a man across the ballroom, and the smile vanished. Grace. Something in his voice froze me. What? Nathaniel leaned closer. Don't smile at anyone. I swallowed. Why? His eyes stayed on the stranger. Because someone in this room already knows exactly who you are. Because someone in this room already knows Exactly who you are. Nathaniel's words stayed beneath my skin. I followed his gaze across the ballroom, expecting to find someone staring. Instead, I found too many. Men in tailored tuxedos. Politicians. Bankers. Men whose names appeared on buildings, and men whose names never appeared anywhere. Which one? I whispered. That's what I'm finding out. Nathaniel picked up a whiskey from a passing tray. He didn't drink. He watched. That was when I understood. The gala wasn't a party to him. It was a map. Every handshake meant something. Every conversation had a purpose. Every person who approached was being measured against information only Nathaniel possessed. And somehow I was part of that calculation. Grace Miller. I turned. A handsome man with sandy hair offered his hand. Ethan Shaw. I know. His eyebrows rose. I immediately regretted saying it. Your name was on Mr. Cross's briefing notes. Ethan smiled. So the famous secretary really does know everything. Beside me, Nathaniel went very still. I'm hardly famous. Tonight might change that. Ethan glanced toward the dance floor. Dance with me? My first instinct was to refuse. My second was to look at Nathaniel. I hated myself for the second one. Nathaniel noticed. Of course he did. His expression revealed nothing. Your choice. 2 words. But they mattered. I'd like to dance, I said. Ethan led me away. I expected Nathaniel to stop us. He didn't. Still, I felt his eyes between my shoulder blades. You've made Cross uncomfortable, Ethan said as we moved beneath the chandeliers. I don't think Nathaniel gets uncomfortable. You call him Nathaniel? My stomach tightened. That surprises you. Everything about tonight surprises me. His smile remained easy. Then he made his mistake. At least Pier 14 should make his week easier. My foot stopped. Ethan nearly stepped on it. What? He recovered too quickly. Nothing. Business gossip. Pier 14. Yesterday morning, Nathaniel's shipment had been scheduled for Pier 9. At 10:42, Caleb requested a logistics adjustment. At 11:06, I changed Nathaniel's private calendar. Pier 14. No public email. No meeting minutes. No external memo. I stepped away from Ethan. Thank you for the dance. Grace. I was already walking. Nathaniel saw my face and abandoned the conversation he was having without apology. What happened? Ethan knows about Pier 14. No surprise. Just focus. Exact words. I repeated them. Nathaniel's gaze moved past me. Toward Ethan. Then somewhere farther right. Caleb Cross stood near a marble column speaking quietly with one of Vincent Moretti's attorneys. Nathaniel lifted his whiskey. Still untouched. Don't look at Caleb. Again. My pulse accelerated. You knew there was a leak. I suspected. One. And that list in your office? His silence answered enough. Anger replaced fear. You brought me here because of this. I brought you because I trust what you notice. That isn't the same as trusting me. Before he could answer, applause erupted. Vincent Moretti had entered. He moved through the crowd with silver-haired elegance, accepting greetings without slowing until he reached us. Nathaniel. Vincent. They shook hands like civilized men. It was somehow more threatening than violence. Then Vincent looked at me. Not at my dress. Not at my face. At my clutch. Only for half a second. But I noticed patterns. His eyes returned to mine. Miss Miller. My heartbeat stumbled. Nathaniel hadn't introduced me. Vincent smiled and offered me champagne. I didn't take it. I've wanted to meet you. Why? His smile widened. Because I've heard remarkable things about the woman who reads Nathaniel Cross's private calendar. Cold spread through my body. Beside me, Nathaniel set down his untouched whiskey. Very carefully, Vincent leaned closer. And, I believe, he murmured, you have something that belongs to me. What exactly do you think I have? Vincent Moretti's smile never moved. That, he said softly, is the interesting question. Nathaniel stepped between us. Not dramatically. He simply shifted half a step, and suddenly Vincent could no longer see my clutch. Enjoy your gala. Vincent. A warning disguised as courtesy. Vincent lifted his glass. I intend to. Nathaniel's hand hovered near my elbow. Come with me. I followed him through a side door into a private library. The moment it closed, I turned on him. The list. Nathaniel said nothing. 4 names. Mine was one of them. His eyes settled on me. For 3 weeks. Moretti has known things he shouldn't. Your calendar. 3. Operational changes. Each leaked within hours. My stomach tightened. Who has access? Marcus. Caleb. You. And you. Yes. I folded my arms. So I was a suspect. You were evaluated. That's a beautiful word for suspect. Nathaniel reached into his jacket and unfolded the paper. For names. His. Marcus. Caleb. Mine. A black line crossed Grace. Miller. When did you clear me? Last Tuesday. Why? You found a $7 discrepancy in an expense report. I stared at him. You cleared me over $7. You stayed 40 minutes late to find where it went. That proves I'm obsessive. It proves you care about accuracy when nobody is watching. My anger weakened. Only slightly. Then why didn't you tell me? Because I needed you safe. No, my voice became quieter. It always did when I was angry. You needed me. Useful. Those aren't the same thing. For once, Nathaniel Cross had no immediate answer. Then something clicked in my memory. Numbers. Invoices. A code I had seen 3 days ago. M417. Nathaniel's expression changed. What? There were payments in the cross logistics. Reconciliation. Same code on 3 invoices. M417. That isn't one of ours. I thought accounting entered it incorrectly. Did you keep a copy? I saved the reconciliation sheet. Where? My clutch. Silence. We both looked down. Vincent hadn't been staring at me. He had been staring at the bag. Nathaniel pulled out his phone. Marcus. Run. M417 against every cross logistics vendor. Quietly, he ended the call. You're staying beside me. There you go, ordering again. This isn't the time. It's exactly the time. His jaw tightened. Then he stopped. Changed course. Grace. Will you help me? That surprised me more than Vincent had. Yes. Nathaniel opened his calendar. We use 3 canaries. I understood before he finished. Different false details for different access paths. Marcus gets Thursday at Pier 18, he said. The operations desk gets Pier 24. Caleb's executive calendar gets Thursday, 11 p.m., Cross Bellini, Pier 21. There is no meeting. None of them are real. I entered each version through a separate permission path, then checked the audit log twice. Caleb's credential was the only one that could see Pier 21. Nathaniel watched the screen. If Moretti moves on one location, we know which channel leaked. For 10 minutes, nothing happened. We returned to the ballroom. Music, champagne, laughter, normality pretending very hard to be real. Then Nathaniel's phone vibrated. He read the message. His face became stone. What? He turned the screen toward me. Moretti men. Just left for Pier 21. Pier 18 quiet. Pier 24 quiet. My breath caught. Only Caleb's access path contained Pier 21. Caleb. Nathaniel's voice was flat. Now I know which channel betrayed me. I looked toward the marble column. Empty. Where is he? Nathaniel followed my gaze. Caleb was gone. Then I felt something against my hip. My clutch. The zipper was open. I knew I had closed it. My hand went inside. The reconciliation sheet was still there. But something else wasn't. The small flash drive containing the original invoices was still there, but the tiny strip of clear tape I always wrapped across its cap had been cut and pressed back crooked. I had done that after once losing a cap in the office. Nobody else knew. Nathaniel. He looked at me. I held up the drive. Someone opened this. They didn't take it. They copied it. Someone already took it. Nathaniel didn't reach for my clutch. He looked across the ballroom. Don't react. I think we're past that. No, his voice dropped. Whoever took it needs to believe we haven't noticed. That stopped me. Of course. Panic would give them information. Nathaniel adjusted his left cufflink and turned toward the stage as if nothing had happened. Can they open the drive? It isn't encrypted. His eyes hardened. I thought it was a counting backup. That wasn't criticism. It sounded like one. Before I could answer, applause rolled through the ballroom. Vincent Moretti stepped onto the stage. Friends, he began warmly. Our city survives because powerful families understand the value of loyalty. Nathaniel's expression didn't change. Vincent spoke about charity, legacy, trust. Then his language shifted. Of course, alliances become dangerous when one side begins making private arrangements. A few heads turned toward Nathaniel. Vincent smiled. I hear the Bellinis have become very interested in Eastern shipping. Marcus appeared beside us. Boss. Nathaniel didn't look at him. Talk. 3 Moretti vehicles went toward Pier 21. Caleb's phone is dark. And this arrived 2 minutes ago. Marcus showed him a photograph. Vincent shaking hands with Luca Bellini. Timestamped yesterday. My stomach dropped. If Bellini is working with Moretti, he isn't. Nathaniel said it instantly. Marcus frowned. We have a photograph. We have something Vincent wanted delivered while he was standing 20 feet away. Nathaniel finally looked at him. Evidence that arrives this conveniently is usually a weapon. That was Nathaniel Cross. Everyone else saw a fire and reached for water. He asked who had struck the match. I looked at the photograph again. Something bothered me. The timestamp. Yesterday. For 16 p.m. Wait. Both men looked at me. Luca. Bellini couldn't have been here yesterday. Marcus's eyes narrowed. How? Do you know? Because Nathaniel met him at Cross Tower. Nathaniel went. Still, I remembered scheduling it. Private conference room. 4th floor. 3:30 to 5 o'clock. He signed the visitor log, I said. I ordered coffee at 3:42. Luca complained we didn't have oat milk. Marcus almost smiled. Nathaniel didn't. The image is old, he said. Or the timestamp was altered. Vincent wasn't exposing a betrayal. He was manufacturing one. Nathaniel glanced toward the Bellini tables. If I retaliate against them tonight, Vincent gets exactly what he wants. A war. And Moretti would watch both sides bleed. For the first time, I understood how dangerous Nathaniel's world really was. Cross crews controlled warehouse security, trucking contracts, union favors, and protection. Along half the eastern waterfront, Bellini controlled the neighboring terminals. One false retaliation could shut docks, split crews, break old loyalties, and turn profitable streets into contested territory. Before sunrise, the danger was not simply that men carried guns. The smartest weapon in the room was sometimes a lie. Nathaniel guided me toward the balcony. Cold air hit my face. For 10 seconds, neither of us spoke. Then he said, Shaw was staring at you. I blinked. With everything happening, that's what you're thinking about. No, you sound jealous. I don't get jealous. I almost laughed. You threatened a champagne waiter with your eyes. He was staring. The absurdity gave me one precious second of relief. Then a waiter stepped onto the balcony. For Miss Miller. He handed me a phone. Not mine. A photograph. Filled the screen. My apartment. My living room. Taken from inside. A message appeared beneath it. Bring the M417 file to the East Service. Exit. Come alone. My blood went cold. Nathaniel read it. His face became terrifyingly calm. Grace. What? Exactly how many copies did you make? 2. Where's the second? In your office. Nathaniel turned toward Marcus. Lock Cross Tower down. Marcus was already reaching for his phone. Then Nathaniel looked back at the photograph of my apartment. His voice dropped to almost nothing. The Gala was never the Real target. Lock Cross Tower down. Marcus was already moving when Nathaniel caught his arm. Quietly. Marcus stopped. Nathaniel glanced through the balcony doors at Vincent Moretti, still smiling beneath the chandeliers. If we empty the room, Vincent knows we understood. So we stay. I asked. We make him believe he's winning. 3 minutes later, Nathaniel was seated at Moretti's table. I sat beside him. My apartment had been breached. Caleb had disappeared. Someone had stolen the flash drive from my clutch. And Nathaniel was discussing Bordeaux. I finally understood why men feared him. He could put panic in a locked room, inside himself, and throw away the key. Vincent lifted his glass. You seem distracted, Nathaniel. Do I? No, then I'm not. Vincent smiled. Under the table, my fingers twisted my mother's ring. Nathaniel noticed. He always noticed. His phone vibrated once. Marcus. Cross Tower. Secure. Executive office accessed 9:47 p.m. Nathaniel typed one word. Who? The answer came immediately. Caleb. My breath stopped. Caleb hadn't broken into Nathaniel's office. He had walked in. Authorized badge. Authorized elevator. Authorized floor. That was worse. Nathaniel placed his phone face down. Problem? Vincent asked. Nathaniel finally took one sip of whiskey. None you need to worry about. Vincent's smile faded by. Half an inch. It was enough. 20 minutes later, we left without rushing. Inside the limousine, the silence broke. You had people watching my apartment. Nathaniel looked at me. It wasn't a question. The photograph showed your curtains open, I said. I closed them every morning. Someone entered. Yet you didn't ask whether anyone was still there. His jaw tightened. You already knew. Yes. How long? Since your name appeared among the four. Anger burned hotter than fear. You put men outside my home without telling me. Yes. You monitored me? I protected the location. Without permission. Yes. I turned toward him. That doesn't give you ownership of my life. I know. The answer came so quickly it hurt more. Then act like it. His eyes held mine. I'm trying. Marcus called. Nathaniel answered on speaker. Caleb took the paper copy from your office, but he missed the archive. I leaned forward. What archive? The invoice scans, Marcus said. Grace's folder. I remembered. Every reconciliation had supporting documents. Automatically scanned before month end. Nathaniel looked at me. Can you access them remotely? Yes. I opened the secure tablet. M417 appeared. 19 times. Not 3. My stomach dropped. These go back 18 months. Marcus swore softly. Payments moved through Harbor Meridian LLC before shipments vanished from cross warehouses. Millions. Not leakage. Infrastructure. Caleb had been building something inside Nathaniel's organization. Nathaniel studied each transaction, then stopped. 1. Payment. $2.4 million. Approved through an executive certificate. His certificate. That's impossible, I whispered. I never authorized it. I opened the signature details. The certificate owner appeared. Nathaniel Cross Sr. I looked at Nathaniel. His father had been dead for 3 years. That isn't your signature. I know. Then whose is it? Nathaniel's face changed. Not fear. Recognition. He stared at his father's name as if a grave had just opened. Only 3 people knew where that private key was kept. Who? Me. Caleb. He paused. And Vincent Moretti. Vincent Moretti knew where my father kept the key. Nathaniel said it without emotion. That frightened me more than anger would have. We were back inside Cross Tower before midnight. Rain streaked the windows 40 floors above Manhattan while Marcus locked the conference room behind us. Nathaniel stood over the transaction. Records. Show me the first payment. I filtered the archive. Harbor. Meridian. 18 months of transfers. Missing shipments. False losses. Then I saw the date. Nathaniel. He looked down. This started before you became boss. Silence. His father had still been alive. Marcus leaned closer. So Caleb didn't create this. No, Nathaniel said. He inherited it. That changed everything. Vincent hadn't found a weakness in Cross recently. He had planted 1 year ago. Nathaniel pulled 3 warehouse reports from the archive. Every Harbor Meridian payment happens before a shipment disappears. I checked. 2 days before. Every time. And who did Cross blame? I asked. Nathaniel's eyes hardened. The Bellinis. There it was. Not theft. Engineering. Vincent had spent years making 2 families hate each other. Why? Because Cross and Bellini together control enough of the eastern ports to keep Moretti out. Marcus understood first. He wants us fighting. Nathaniel nodded. And tonight he almost got it. He picked up his phone. Get Anthony. Bellini. Marcus hesitated. Now. Nathaniel looked at him. Marcus made the call. An hour later, Anthony Bellini entered through Cross Towers. Private garage with 2 men. No armies. No theatrics. Nathaniel laid the evidence on the table. Bellini studied it. You expect me to trust you? No, Nathaniel slid the forged photograph toward him. I expect you to recognize when someone is trying to make us kill each other. Bellini stared at the altered timestamp. What do you propose? A shipment. Real. Real enough for Vincent. Nathaniel outlined it calmly. A false. High-value transfer. A controlled route. Different information given to different people. If Caleb passed it to Moretti, They would choose the battlefield for him. For the first time that night, Nathaniel wasn't reacting. He was hunting. Back in his office, I opened the communications archive. I can map the invoice dates against calendar. Access. No, I looked up. You need someone who understands the scheduling structure. It's too exposed. There it was again. Nathaniel. Deciding. I folded my hands. He saw my expression. His jaw tightened. Then something remarkable happened. He corrected himself. Tell me why? You should. So I did. Calendar permissions. Vendor timestamps. Meeting. Changes. The patterns nobody noticed because each piece looked harmless. Alone. Nathaniel listened. No interruption. When I finished, he nodded. All right. 2 words. Different from an order. I turned back to the screen. You know what scares me? He said. I froze. Nathaniel crossed it. Not confess fear. I'm not afraid you're too weak for this world. Grace. His voice lowered. I'm afraid you'll understand it. I looked at him. And then, you'll understand me. For a second, neither of us moved. Then stopped deciding what I can survive. His eyes stayed on mine. I'm trying. For once there was no boss in his voice, only a man who had spent so long protecting power that he no longer knew where. Protection ended and control began. His hand moved toward mine, then stopped on the desk between us, leaving the choice with me. I covered the last inch and rested my fingers against his for one quiet second. Trust is not keeping me untouched, I said. It is letting me know what I am choosing. His thumb shifted beneath my hand. I don't know how to do that well. Learn. For you. I met his eyes. For yourself first. Something in his face opened, then closed again when the computer chimed. I almost believed he could learn. Then a file opened on my screen. The Gala seating chart. One name had been moved 10 minutes before our arrival. Ethan Shaw. His new seat placed him directly beside my route into the ballroom. Nathaniel. He came behind me. I opened the security notes. Ethan had been repositioned by Moretti's office. The dance. The staring. The distraction. My skin went cold. I pulled up the ballroom photograph. Dozens of men were looking at me, except one, an elderly attendant near the coat room. He wasn't looking at my face. He was looking at my clutch. I zoomed in. Nathaniel, his expression, turned lethal. I finally understood. Every man in that room had turned to look at me, and Vincent Moretti had been counting on it. The only man who didn't look at me was the one who stole from me. Nathaniel's. I stayed on the photograph. Find him. Marcus moved immediately. Within minutes, hotel security footage filled the screen. There I was, beneath the chandeliers, surrounded by turning heads. Ethan approaching, Nathaniel watching, and behind us, the elderly attendant moving against the crowd. He knew where you'd stand, I whispered. The next camera caught everything. 11 seconds. The attendant brushed past me, switched my clutch with an identical one, disappeared behind a column, then returned it moments later, long enough to copy the drive. Nathaniel leaned closer. Moretti didn't need to steal your evidence. He only needed the data, and he needed everyone watching something else. Me. The unnecessary announcement of my name. The spotlight. Ethan's sudden dance invitation. The seating change. Vincent staring at my clutch. None of it had been random. Moretti had not predicted that the room would look at me. He had manufactured the moment, then sent one man moving in the opposite direction. Marcus placed another report on the table. We traced the attendant. Moretti payroll through a subcontractor. Nathaniel began arranging documents in a line. Calendar leak. Harbor. Meridian. Forged Bellini photograph. The copied drive. One conspiracy. One purpose. I saw it before Marcus spoke. Vincent wanted Cross to attack Bellini. Nathaniel nodded. Caleb feeds me false intelligence. Vincent manufactures proof. I retaliate. Bellini retaliates, I said. And Moretti takes the ports while both families bleed. The room went silent. Every question had an answer now, except one. I looked at Nathaniel. When did you know bringing me to the gala might provoke the leak? His expression changed. Barely. Enough. My stomach sank. Nathaniel, I brought you because you see patterns my security people miss. That part was true. He paused. I also knew changing who stood beside me would alter access and behavior around me. I wanted to see who reacted. And you never told me that second part. No, you knew. There was risk. Yes. I believed the risk was to the operation, not to you. I was wrong. The truth arrived quietly. You used me. I used the change around me as a test, without giving me the choice. His jaw tightened. Yes. I believed I could control the risk. A bitter laugh escaped me. There it is. Grace, you didn't trust me enough to tell me. I was trying to keep you outside this. You brought me inside. It. He had no answer. I removed my cross tower badge, set it on his desk. I'm done. Marcus looked away. Nathaniel stared at the badge. He could have ordered me to stay. The frightening thing was that both of us knew how much power he had. Instead, he stepped aside. You're right. 2 words hurt more than an argument. I walked out. Behind me, Nathaniel became the boss again. Marcus, send Caleb the Pier 21. Inspection. I stopped outside the door. You're going there? Nathaniel didn't look at me. He thinks he knows where I'll be. I intend to make that useful. The elevator doors closed between us. 40 minutes later, I reached my apartment. The lock was intact. Nothing looked disturbed, except for one white envelope centered on my coffee table. My blood turned cold. Inside was a photograph. Nathaniel at Pier 21. A red crosshair rested over his chest. Beneath it, 6 words. He used you. Help US, or he dies. My hand reached for my phone, then stopped. The photograph was too perfect. The threat was too obvious. Nathaniel had taught me something without meaning to. Evidence delivered this. Conveniently, was usually a weapon. I stared at the message again. They didn't want me at the pier. They wanted me to contact him. And suddenly, I knew why. They don't want me at the pier. I stared at the red crosshair over Nathaniel's chest. They want me to call him. My thumb hovered above his number. Then I called Marcus instead. He answered. Immediately. Grace. I received a threat. Nathaniel's at Pier 21. Silence. Don't call him. I wasn't going to. That surprised Marcus. It's a tracking trap, isn't it? Most likely. Nathaniel shut down his personal phone before the operation. I photographed the envelope and message, then sent them. Marcus called. Back 30 seconds later. The paper stock is embossed. I looked closer. A faint silver M disappeared beneath the printed photograph. Moretti. They wanted Nathaniel to turn his phone on, I said, and reveal his command position. My fear changed shape. Someone had entered my apartment expecting emotion to make me predictable. They were wrong. Tell Nathaniel I'm safe. I will. And Marcus? Yes. I found another way to help. At Pier 21, the shipment arrived at 1:17 a.m. I watched through the secure operations feed from Cross Tower. 3 black vehicles entered the warehouse district exactly 7 minutes later. Moretti men. Then Bellini vehicles sealed the southern exit. The alliance hadn't broken. It had become the trap. Caleb stepped from the second car. Nathaniel walked from the warehouse alone. Not unprotected. Never unprotected. Cross crews controlled every roof, exit, loading gate, camera feed, and road leading back toward the river. Men who had answered to his family for years waited beyond the light. Nathaniel simply didn't need them visible. Caleb laughed. You really came. Nathaniel's voice remained quiet. No, you did. Marcus activated the recording feed. Nathaniel laid out the evidence piece by piece. Pier 21. Harbor Meridian. His father's stolen certificate. The forged Bellini photograph. The hotel attendant. Caleb's face changed with each 1. You weakened this family, Caleb finally snapped. Your father understood power. My father confused chaos with strength. You cut profitable operations. You made peace with Bellini. I removed liabilities. You made us soft. Nathaniel stepped closer. No. Weakness is needing chaos to feel powerful. Caleb looked toward the Moretti men. Too late. Bellini had blocked their escape. The trap closed without a shot. Then Marcus called me. We have Caleb. Vincent. A pause. Not here. My stomach tightened. Of course he wasn't. Vincent always built an exit. I opened the Harbor Meridian. Archive again. Why risk 18 months of transactions if Caleb could expose everything? Unless the records themselves served another purpose. Then I saw it. The forged certificate connected Nathaniel personally to every transfer. Marcus. What? Vincent doesn't need the peer. I pulled up the compliance logs. He needs Nathaniel blamed for harbor. Meridian. Silence. If Caleb falls, Vincent releases the financial records. Rival families see Nathaniel laundering money. Federal investigators see the same thing. Can we prove the signature was forged? Yes. The archived audit trail records the original certificate. Handshake. Where? Offsite compliance server. I heard Nathaniel's voice behind Marcus. Grace stays out of it. My anger returned. Instantly. Put me on speaker. A second later. Grace. You need the archive index 1 built. I can send someone. They'll take hours. Silence. Ask me, Nathaniel. Another silence. Different this time. Then, his voice softened. Grace, will you help me finish this? I closed my eyes. Yes. 40 minutes later, we recovered the original audit trail. Proof. Then Marcus's second phone rang. He listened. His face drained. What happened? I asked. Vincent called an emergency meeting of 3 families. Moretti Club. 2 a.m. Nathaniel entered the room, rain darkening his coat. He's going to declare me a traitor before we can circulate the evidence. I looked at him. So we send it now? Nathaniel adjusted his left cufflink. No, what do we do? His eyes turned cold. Controlled. Certain. We take it to him. We take it to him. Nathaniel said it like the outcome had already been decided. At 2:11 a.m., the doors of Moretti Club opened. Vincent sat at the head of a long table. 3 families were represented around him. Anthony Bellini stood near the window, and every conversation stopped when Nathaniel entered. I walked beside him, not behind him. Vincent smiled. Nathaniel, we were discussing you. I know. Nathaniel placed one folder on the table. Vincent didn't touch it. You're accused of stealing from your own organization, laundering money through harbor, Meridian, and preparing an attack against Bellini. Nathaniel pulled out a chair for me, then remained standing. You forgot conspiracy. Vincent's smile tightened. I'm sure you'll explain. Nathaniel nodded. To Marcus. A screen illuminated. First came Pier 21. Footage showed Moretti vehicles entering the trap. Then Caleb. His recorded confession filled the room. Vincent's expression barely changed. So, Nathaniel continued. Harbor Meridian. 18 months of payments. The stolen certificate belonging to Nathaniel's dead father. The manipulated Bellini photograph. Finally, hotel footage. There I was beneath the chandeliers. Every man turning to look. Behind me, one attendant. Switching my clutch. Marcus froze the image. Your employee, Nathaniel, said. Vincent leaned back. Circumstantial. That's what I thought. You'd said. Nathaniel looked at me. My turn. I connected the compliance drive. The financial records accusing Nathaniel are real, I said. That caused murmurs. Vincent smiled again. But the authorization isn't. I opened the archived handshake. Original timestamps. Certificate access. External authentication. A server address tied to a Moretti subcontractor appeared on the screen. Vincent barely glanced at it. A rented server, he said, used by hundreds of clients. You have proved that someone forged a certificate, not that I ordered it. A few men around the table shifted. He had found the gap. Nathaniel did not interrupt. He looked at me. He trusted me to finish. I opened one final file. You are right. The server alone is not enough. Vincent's eyes narrowed. So I checked the 19M 417 payments against the access logs, hotel contractor payroll, and the authentication renewals. Every renewal was approved from the same Moretti administrative account that authorized tonight's coatroom contractor. Different companies. Same internal credential. Same 6-minute approval pattern. 18 months of it. I displayed the audit chain, then the hotel payroll record for the attendant who had copied my drive. You hid every piece in a different system because you expected people to inspect documents one at a time. I looked at him. I don't. The room went silent. Vincent's smile disappeared. Anthony Bellini stepped forward. The evidence against my family was fabricated. One by one, the room changed. Not loudly. That was the terrifying thing about power. You could watch it leave one man and move toward another without anyone raising their voice. Nathaniel placed both hands on the table. Your port agreements are finished, Vincent. Bellini withdraws recognition. Cross freezes. Every shared route. The neutral families have seen why. Vincent stared at him. You think this ends here? No, Nathaniel's voice became almost gentle. I think this is where you discover how few friends you actually bought. Vincent looked around. Nobody moved. By sunrise, Moretti had lost the eastern routes. Caleb was finished inside the cross organization, and Nathaniel had won without giving Vincent the war he wanted. Later, in Nathaniel's office, I placed my employee badge on his desk again. His eyes dropped to it. You're still leaving? Yes. He nodded. No command. No argument. Will you come back? As your secretary. A pause. No, he looked at me. Come back when standing beside me is your choice, not your job. So I left. 3 months later, I entered another charity gala under my own name. Grace Miller, independent risk and compliance consultant, 3 months into building Miller Risk and Compliance. I saw Nathaniel across the ballroom and almost laughed. Men were turning to look at me again. Nathaniel noticed. Of course he did. But he didn't cross the room. He waited. A man beside me offered his hand. Dance. Before, I might have looked to Nathaniel for permission. This time, I didn't. I politely declined. Then I walked across the ballroom myself. Nathaniel watched me approach. No possessive hand. No order. No claim. I stopped in front of him. Are you going to ask? Something softened in the face of the most intimidating man I had ever known. He extended his hand. Grace Miller, may I have this dance? I placed my hand in his. Yes. Nathaniel Cross could command men, control streets, and silence a room with one look. But he never commanded me again. He ruled the city. I ruled his silence.